and how I waved through all this professional journey that you talked about is only a spark of my parents. That is how I value the contribution of parents in shaping the persona, especially of a girl child. Because whatsoever we may say, even today it remains male-dominated society. However, today's generation is really a thinking generation that talks of equality. So on this International Women's Day, uh, I think we can call it the previous day, evening, your morning, your morning, we are all celebrating the essence of being a woman, being a girl child, growing up like a girl child, when United Nations 2021 theme says women in leadership, achieving an equality of future. What I personally feel is what we have to do is to be given an equality of opportunity. I would say that given that equality of opportunity, every child would excel. Every individual would excel. Now, I'm sure in the last few days, especially in 2021 itself, of course, 2020 has been a year of great turmoil, emotional, social, and also professional growth for many of us. The way educators have held up the show to do the continuum of learning, it is really hats off to all of them. However, the stories of those unknown girls, that one girl, Jyoti, who I think cycled almost for 8 days to carry her injured father from Gurugram to Darbhanga, is a story by itself. The story of that girl from Odisha recently in the last 1 week itself, where she has invented an air bike that can travel 160 kilometers only with the pressure. And at the same time, we have people like Dr. Swati Mohan, who says, touchdown confirmed as the world watches the landing of NASA's Perseverance rover on Mars. And we have equally competent line of Harpreet Singh, who takes over as the first women CEO of an air alliance company. So we have this vast expanse horizon of where we can fly, from skies to the spaces to the satellites to this thing. That's what an individual is made up of. And I really love the theme, the campaign theme that has been given to IW, International Women's Day 2021, choose to challenge. Now the question is, what do you choose to challenge? That's what we need to ask for ourselves on this day. I'm sure the last 5 years themes of International Women's Day, if you look at that, we started with probably pledge for parity. 5 years back, 2016 theme it was, then be bold for change the next year. Then we talked about press for progress. Then we talked about balance for better. And then we talked last year, each for equality. So today is the day to think over where we were, where we have reached, and where still we have to go on. So if you're the theme of the campaign is choose to challenge, it is the day for all of us, each one of us as a parent, as an educator, as a normal human being, as a society, as a learning community, that what do we choose to challenge? And to every individual on this day, I would say that choose to challenge your fears. Choose to challenge your insecurities. Choose to challenge your doubts that put you down. Emerge out, keep that passion alive, keep that spark alive, which keeps you going on. So patience, persistence, perseverance, failing and rising again. That's what is the mantra to be successful human being. So probably on this day, we will talk about genderly inclusive language. So we talk about gender equality when we talk about the language that is genderly inclusive. So whether it is a son or a daughter, a girl or a boy, how do we raise children in this current scenario who are confident, who can think well, who have logical reasoning, who have judgment, who have skills to go on. And they can talk about it's not only financial freedom and independence of girls or women, but of every individual. So I'm very happy to have all these people on the panel today, right from Professor Ramachandran ji, Ma'am Bhattacharya, and my loving Alia Vora, along with her mother Nipa Vora. Welcome you all to this platform. And I would like to begin with probably Professor Ramachandran ji, who comes from NIT Warangal as Professor of Chemistry. If you have to look at his profile, probably that is something we have to really listen to the kind of achievement that he's been having. I'll just read out a few of them. Teaching experience of 35 years. He has put up the research papers. He has been chairing the conference sessions. And then he has been the research guide and have been even awarded for that. The best part is he's been National Merit Scholar throughout academic career, starting from SSC to PhD. I'm sure he deserves a big round of applause from all of us. He has been a team leader of Jan Vigyan Vedika. And for that, he has also received national award from none other than our President of India, Abdul Kalam, who has been so much instrumental in giving that science touch to every corner of India. Welcome, Professor Sir, to our platform. And I would really like you to share with us how you could encourage, or how's your university encouraging the women to be in the sector of science? Because science is almost a phobia, and the people also have this tag. Like I have done physics and maths combination. Whenever I say physics, people say, wow, physics, as if it is something extraordinary, whereas it is nothing very special. Every child can do it, provided the right kind of opportunity and guidance is given to you. So over to you, Professor Ramachandran. Let's welcome all for him being here to talk about Jan Vigyan Samiti क्या है, हम लोगों को गर्ल्स को क्या सिखा सकते हैं, और आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी हमारी लड़कियों को ऊपर हायर एजुकेशन तक आने के लिए कैसे एनकरेज कर रही है. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ms. Veena Rajdaji. See, actually, if this particular topic has been given to me, generally on any platform, we would be speaking for about 30 minutes to 1 hour. But since the time that has been given to me is only just 15 minutes, it is very difficult actually to condense and also to concise.
You give us the tips, sir. Tips दीजिए आप हमें कि ताकि बस हम उनको लेके आगे चलेंगे फिर. Yes, give us the tips.
I don't want to encroach into the time slots of the other prominent speakers, so I would like to listen to them also. That's why I would like to be a bit brief. But at the same time, I am not very articulate about other areas of where women have been marginalized, where women have to be empowered and all. But I am a simple, humble chemistry teacher and chemistry student. At the same time, as a from my childhood days onwards, as a person who have been grown by my mother, then by my drunkard father, and also being an eldest of 5 among my siblings, and where I've got 2 sisters and who have showered more natural love than my brothers, and also having been a father of 2 children, one son and one daughter, and I see my daughter to be showering more natural love to me than my even son, US settled son. Anyway, and at the same time, as one of the co-founders of the Jana Vijnana Vedika, which is actually a non-governmental science movement organization, which tries to eradicate superstitions and also communicate or popularize science among people. We have got one sub-wing in Jana Vijnana Vedika called as Samata, which actually takes care of the women issues and also the ways and means of women empowerment. We have been working on this organization for the past 3.5 decades, and that's what has actually fetched us the highest national award from the very President of India in 2005. It is not my achievement, it is actually the achievement of the 1 lakh strong Jana Vijnana Vedika, which is spread all over the 2 Telugu-speaking states. Dear Ms. Veena Rajdaji, Ms. Alva Vora, and also Ms. Nepa Vora, Ms. Bhattacharya ji, Mr. Bhanu Prakash, and also Sushmita. The Bhanu Prasad and Sushmita happen to be our own students of the SQL RS Warangal and also the NIT Warangal presently. And very good morning to all of you, and my best wishes on the eve of the International Women's Day 2021. I wholeheartedly congratulate the super teacher for observing the International Women's Day vociferously and also befittingly. tomorrow onwards, our institute also is holding a 3-day conference on the topic Women Empowerment in Science and Technology in connection with the International Women's Day. The chief guest of this program is none other than the Governor of Telangana and also the Lieutenant Governor of Pondicherry, Dr. Ms. Tamilisai Soundararajan. You are all welcome to get registered to that also. It is a 3-day conference. From tomorrow onwards, it's going to be starting till 10th. Okay. The theme of, as Madam Veena ji has just now told, the theme of this year's International Women's Day is choose to challenge. She has also challenged what to choose. And she has also given some kind of lead as to what are the things that have to be challenged. Okay. You have to be choosing and the choice has to be appropriate and the choice also has to be okay, result oriented. So let us just maybe since I am only concerned with academics, I would like to just share some of the okay, marginalization or some of the discrimination, how women, in spite of her being more talented anatomically, more talented physiologically, more talented to take up multitask activities, why she has been marginalized and how she has been marginalized in academics. That's what I would like to share. Is some kind of stray statistical data, so that the women participants whoever have registered to this particular event, 1-hour event, and also those I see some male participants also on the screen, and they should also ponder over why the other half of the citizens are actually not all getting their due. So that's why I am going to share a few aspects related to the academic aspects. The previous year's theme was the balance for better, with with a special emphasis on key challenges facing women in academia. So keeping in view that Super Teacher is an academic group and also myself being a humble academician, I chose to throw some light, even if it is a very mild light, but not very bright light on the share and role of women in academics. Okay. Okay, I have just brought some state data here and there, so I will be just reading by my some side window also is there, and maybe those who are interested in having a copy of this, I will also be sharing this copy to the organizers of this program, and in turn will be able to share it to other participants. Okay, there are two major issues that would be called with respect to the International Women's Day 2021. Okay, one is the okay, and if you want to address the choose to challenge, one is we have to be aware of the unnatural discrimination by gender the woman is facing in the contemporary social order, and the reasons for that. What are the reasons? The historical, cultural, traditional, religious, socio-economic, and political reasons for the origins as well as sustenance of this discrimination. Okay, so the first target for anybody who wants to make this International Women's Day to be truly observed and not as a formality like we observe there are several days. All those days, on the day of the days itself, we make some kind of formal observation, and we simply forget whatever is the call for that particular day. And if at all you want to make any meaningful celebration or meaningful observation of these things, no, some kind of awareness must be there. What are the things that have to be addressed? Okay, so the awareness must be first thing to be had, and then the reasons also for this particular discrimination. Then only we'll be able to find out some kind of solutions and as to what to challenge and what not to challenge. Okay. Then the other thing is the second thing is to choose the challenge, or to choose to challenge by action that has certain degree of purpose and harvest. We should be able to at least have some set of activities which are likely to give some kind of due results in the near future, if not very long. Okay, that's why the awareness should be with respect to the day-to-day life. Okay, and the day-to-day life. See, we're all alive. We're also aware. We are conscious. We have got the wakeful time in front of us. And what are the various ways in which actually any human endeavor, even cutting across the gender thing, is encompassing. So there are three aspects actually where we're all busy in. Okay. Anybody in the world, whoever is not sleeping, if at all you just go to any wakeful person who is actually doing something, those activities can be classified into three important activities. One is the domestic life or the so-called personal life, which maybe my family members only may be knowing me, and sometimes no, I may be in my own personal room, I may be doing some personal activities, and that activity may be with regard to my wakeful thing and all. So there's a personal time is also there whenever you are awake. The second thing is about the profession. See, when we go to NIT Varangal, we have to teach, we have to guide research, and we have to publish papers, and we have to do a lot of administrative work and all. The third one is a social life, where you will be interacting with fellow human beings, and where you will be civic life, the civic life. In these three aspects of day-to-day life, how are women actually playing their role? If you see the domestic life itself, if you see one demographic observation says that on average in the world, a woman actually walks 6 to 8 kilometers within the house premises itself. And we see the male people may be thinking that going to some kind of park and making some kind of walking in the evenings and the mornings for some good health and all may be counted as the walking. But the women to take care of the children, to be prepared for the school, to just move here and there, to take care of the husband's needs and all, and to just do a lot of other routine things in the house and all. People say that on average, any typical woman all over the world makes a coverage of 6 to 8 kilometers on average. Okay. Whereas the man is counted, whether irrespective of age and all, is only 2 to 3 kilometers per day. Okay. That is how we have to just see how much time the woman is spending in the labor, in the mechanical, physical movement itself. Okay. Then the resting wise, for example, after taking even sleeping is not I'm counting. I'm just taking some relaxation, entertainment, etc. and all. So people say that only 60% of the entertainment time women is spending, whereas 100%, if 100% is man's entertainment time, 60% is going to be the entertainment time for women in the domestic life. Then, if you are just taking every task, for example, reading is a task, cooking is a task, driving is a task, preparing children also is a task, then writing books is also a task, poetry is a task, maybe fine arts and history and also a task, whatever it may be. Whatever you call as wakeful times activities, these are going to be having the human societal aspects. People say that 65 to 70% of the tasks all over the world are carried out by women only. Okay, you may not count the cooking as a task. You may not count the even stitching a small worn out part of a cloth of his or son or a daughter as a task. But all these things are actually part and parcel of human activities. And even doing great research in higher laboratories and all also is a task. Okay, sending a rocket to NASA or maybe to Mars and all also may be a task. But from small tasks to big tasks, we are counting 60% to 65 to 70% of the tasks are being carried out by women alone in this world. And ultimately, women are not getting their due, and they are being shown as some kind of ties of commerce, and they are not able to go to the streets confidently. As we are preserving the materials in our Almira, we also preserve the daughters not to go away in the evenings and all, as if there are some precious items, not as a human beings. And the human beings are supposed to interact with nature. They are supposed to interact with fellow human beings, and they should share the knowledge. They should acquire knowledge. They should be part and parcel of this dynamic society. But their share of this dynamic society is marginalized only to daytime, but not the 24 hours like the male people have been enjoying. Similarly, in no country, except perhaps in Denmark and all, or Switzerland to some extent, a woman is not carefully or not, boldly able to walk on the streets. Okay, our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi himself has told that A true independence means that when a woman is able to walk confidently and without any fear on the roads in night time. Are we able to ensure that? No, no, not at all. And at the same time, what is the reason for all these things? Perhaps you have to be very, very bold enough to realize that things. Should not be shy. The facts must be, what do you say, unbiasedly to be taken care of. The facts are that our education system is actually gender biased. Our cultures are gender biased. Our traditions are gender biased. Our marital system is gender biased. Our religious books are also gender biased. Our epics are also gender biased. Tell us one religion where women gods are shown to be better than male gods. So you say God itself is the word that has been given. Goddess is given second fiddle. Okay. Then in functions also, most of the domestic functions also, we see women are actually taken as a second level, whereas male are taken as the first level. For example, Sashtapurti, suppose all of us are enjoying and observing Sashtapurti and all. Okay, when I was 60 years, when I crossed my 60 years, no, on that day, my wife, that Prabhat, she's a doctor, she's doing more service to the society than myself. She may be even saving lives of a lot of people. She's a gynecologist. She must have brought out a lot of lives also outside. And but she has been made to stand beside me, and she has made to garland me as if another marriage is being celebrated. But when her 60 years was over last year, we could not celebrate so much, ardently as it was done to me. So that way, the traditions are also celebrated more in favor of men than in favor of the women and all.
May I request Professor Sab just to conclude whatever you are saying?
Madam?
I think I would like to conclude with whatever you have shared with us.
Madam, I have got some more things to share now.
Yes, I'm saying. Yes, please continue, but then let's conclude it, right?
Okay, right. So with regard to the share of women in academics and all, as you can see, none of the IITs, there are, the 23 IITs are there and 31 NITs are there, except in NIT Trichy, and none of the IITs has got any woman as a director, and none of the 30 NITs has got any woman. And remember, our NIT Warangal has a life of 61 years. And for the first 55 years, there was not a single woman professor on the campus. Okay, so very recently only we will get a few professors. That too only out of 4,400, nearly only 4 are professors of from women. And just take some examples from international scenario. Regard to the Nobel Prize, from 1901 to 2020, as many as 962 persons have received the Nobel Prize in 603 times. Okay, in all 6 areas of Nobel Prizes, only 57 are women, and in sciences it's only 23 times. Okay, see the example in sciences. No, okay, you know that 337 Nobel laureates are there in sciences, means physics, chemistry, and medicine. And only 22 people, okay, 23rd times. Hence, one lady by name, Marie Curie has got a prize, a Nobel Prize, but 22 people only got Nobel Prize in sciences. And except last year and also in 1903, no woman has got Nobel Prize exclusively without having any association with men.
So, Professor Sir, my questions to you will be that how do we really encourage women to do something that you think has not been done up till now? Like the women are not the statistical data, we're all aware of that it is not. So what are those few tips that you would give to the younger generation that this is what can be done specifically in science or research or even in any other field? There are so many fields open nowadays. So those few tips that you would like to give to the current audience who are all logged in today and the current generation who would be listening to this. So what is it that I should do as a parent, as an educator, as a person in the higher education to encourage women to reach there where you think they should be?
Madam, it's not individualistic. It has to be like some kind of, it has to be, statutory. It has to be organizational. It has to be from the socio-political system. and
So
the
if you have to
entire
give
education
one tip,
system.
that 1, 2, 3 mantras for all of us to do, get this going on this International Women Day, what would be those pointers from you
First
for
of all,
us?
you have to mobilize yourselves. You have to organize yourselves. It
Okay,
cannot be done
mobilize the people is
individually.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So organization and also trying to boldly enter into politics, and they should get their due
Politics
representation
is little
reservation.
maybe too, but anyway, women are venturing into politics. That's what is quite
But their
encouraging. Yeah.
proportion, is not
For
commensurate to their.
proportion that you said, now we will be mobilizing all the people all around. So basically what I've understood from your talk is, number one, very important point, the awareness of the issues that are related to the women. And that you very rightly pointed out so many things that the women are doing. I think the current generation, current times, one thing that we can all agree is awareness is there. Now is the time what to do for it. What to
Yeah,
do
the
for
doing
it.
is, for example, madam, see, we do in our Jana Vijay Nagarika, we mobilize people to just we rally people around and on some specific targets, we just work them, and we support people who are actually going to bring down changes in the socio-political system, in the economic equality for women. See, one of the reasons why women are marginalized is their lack of independence in economics, the lack of independence in financial things. They are supposed to be dependent on husbands, supposed to be dependent on parents, etc. So the so-called legal system, the so-called hearing mechanism must be altered. That can happen only by some kind of variation, some kind of acts in the legislation. And for that, no, we have to mobilize. And mobilization from even also the education system also has to be gender par. It cannot be gender discriminatory. You know, some of the lessons are all in favor of keeping women confined only to the kitchen, and they are not all shown to be on par with that. Okay, gradually,
Okay,
lot of
fine, Professor Sir. We'll come back to you on these questions once again, and then stay tuned with us only. I would like to move on to Alia and her mother along with us. Alia has been a student, and I'm sure you would be really get certain points that how the younger generation is also doing something, and how the parents supported her for whatever she wanted to do, and her story has been all over there. So I think. Alia is a class 12 student, as I understand, in Hill International School in Mumbai, and she had to do some project and how she started doing that. So, Alia, briefly, how did you venture into this? And what would you advise the younger generation of your group to go on with doing something similar to you? Right, over to Alia.
So I attended an entrepreneurship course at Young Entrepreneurs Academy back in like grade 9, where we had to come up with where to establish a problem and then come up with a solution for that. So I was a footballer, so my problem was that during the monsoons we constantly had wet shoes that would like they wouldn't dry by the time for next practice, and then we'd fall sick because we're wearing the wet shoes and like practicing. So then I came up with my product Sili Dry, which is an absorbent for moisture and water, and then I came up with a second product, Odor Go, which is an absorbent for like bad like foul odor. So that's kind of how I started my business, and then I took it forward, and like it's become a success at the
So
moment.
keeping in view your experience, number one, how long did it take to complete that project that you were doing?
So the course was about like 7 months. So every Saturday we had to work on it. And then after that, like I had grade 10. So we had boards and stuff. So I couldn't work on it. But then from the summer of grade 10 to like about like the first half of grade 11, I worked on my business and like got my products coming in, my business cards, my brochures. I set up my website, and then that's how
So
I.
how did you manage your studies as well as the project that you were doing, and how did you balance the time now that you're in class 12 and all our system remains examination oriented and parents will just not let you do anything but the studies only. So how did you manage that?
Yeah, so I definitely had to work a lot on time management, and I had to give up on like multiple outings. Like I
Okay.
even had to give up on doing football to work on my like project because like they were on the same day. Like practices were on Saturday and the course was on Saturday, so like I had to skip football occasionally, and then I couldn't go out, and then I like sleepless nights, and I was just working.
Okay, so you mean the one has to sacrifice a certain interest in order to keep up some other interest in which you are highly interested, right?
Definitely.
So entrepreneurship tips, if you would like to give to the same generation age of yours, the teenagers, pre-teenagers, adolescents, what would you like to give it to them?
So it's definitely that first you need to have the mindset like that you need to like you want to achieve something, so then you need to focus and work on that and give up on everything that doesn't matter and won't affect your future. And one thing is that if you set your mind to something, you will achieve it. So don't be scared of anything or anyone, and don't think about what anybody else has to say. Just like put your best foot forward and try your hardest, and you will
Okay.
achieve.
Do you think the financial aspect matters when you go in for such a kind of innovative or exploring product?
Definitely. So the thing that pushed me to achieve like financial independence was I love to travel by like business class and first class, but my
Oh,
parents
okay.
simply said you can travel economy, and once you start earning, you can pay for your own thing. So that's kind of what pushed me. Like I told my dad,
Oh, that reminds me of one of my students who says, "Uska status hai, I work because my dreams are expensive and I want to live for them."
yeah,
That
I was
is current generation. That's so nice of you to share that. And then, are you happy with having done one this thing, or are you still venturing into new things?
So at the moment I have two products, but I want to venture into like multiple things and do something like tech related because I want to do computer science in the future. So
Okay.
like something in that field as well.
So, if you have to name your company in the future, what would be the name of your company so that we can always look back and say, oh, that is the company of that Alia Vora who was on our show, right?
I'm not sure. Maybe like something based on my name, like Boras or something. I'm not sure.
Okay, keeping in view the current problems of especially the girl child, you have the female feticide, child marriage, not being educated, being put into the labor work. What are the few tips that you can give it to a normal and average person that as a parent, what can I do?
So one is definitely you need to be aware of what's happening and like just spread awareness, and then you can take action on that by working towards like stopping such practices from occurring. Like for example, I work with Toy Bank, which helps like younger children. So all the proceeds from like my business goes to like those kids so that they can have a better future and like a better like area and environment to pursue like an education or something.
Okay, that you certify something Professor Ramachandran shared, that awareness is the first thing that we all need to bring to our people all around.
Yeah.
So do you have an awareness drive on which you are working as per Choose to Challenge campaign that is going on for International Working Women's Day 2021 theme? It may not be exactly because you are also studying, you are a student, especially in class 12, so I can understand the examination pressure too. But however, how is your school or how's your society contributing to such kind of awareness?
So in school we have like several projects for this one subject called Global Perspectives. So
Okay.
in that everybody's divided into different things. So some people work on like women empowerment, some people work on like health and hygiene and various different things. So I worked with sports and recreation and kind of motivating like women and like the underprivileged to indulge in sports and not shy away, because it's kind of the norm that only boys play and girls have to do like whatever they do at home. So that's how I like created awareness and took action and like donated money and stuff
Is
that,
yours a co-educational school?
yeah, it
So
is.
how do you find the ratio of the girls in the high? Because I have been a teacher, so I know the how the ratio changes over when you go to higher classes. You have more of boys and less of girls.
Unfortunately, it's different. So in my class, like this is only in my class, I don't know why, but we have more girls than boys.
Oh, so you dominate them.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
right. So, Mrs. Vora, Nipa Manji, I think it's a proud moment for as a mother to be there on the platform with your daughter. And as I understand, you have been in a export factory for the government for quite a long time, right? So, how do you like? What would you like to tell the younger generation parents today that how do we encourage raising of children, I would not address, because we should be using gender inclusive language on such platforms, because for today's generation, whether it is a boy or a girl, I think what matters is that you have a child who needs to be raised right. So what would you like to really give it to the people around there? Tips of being the parent raising right kind of children. I know you have twin daughters and you still okay, right.
Okay, I've had children after like 7, 8 years of being married. And when I found out I have twins, I was overjoyed. And then when the doctor told me, "Oh, Mrs. Vora, you have two girls." So I was like, "Oh, that's really wonderful." And that was
Okay.
like the time when I made a vow that, okay, I'm going
Mhm.
to give nothing but the best to my girls.
Okay.
Best, not materialistically, but best in values. So I think I have raised my children with inculcating a lot of values.
Okay, fine. When you talk of values, probably it is more of the, what I understand is more of the environment in which the child lives, rather than giving the tips like this has to be done, not to be done, like shoulds and must. So can you just give me, share some incident where you think that those were the few incidents which shaped the value system in your children?
uh, yes, like I know that my children will never talk rudely with anyone. They will always look at the other person's feelings, that how will the person feel if I just abruptly say something. And there has to be an encouraging word, like, during lockdown everyone was confined to their homes, so
Right.
Alia and me were sitting and deciding what can we do for them. And I have a mother-in-law who stays with us, so
Okay.
she's all the time running around being tech challenged, that how do I use the phone, how do I use this. So we did a project where we helped the senior citizens of our building who had challenges with
Great.
technology. And Alia went door to door to help them, of course with appointments, because people were not allowed to go meet each
Right,
other.
right.
So
Today's
that's
world is
how it
little.
is, that helping someone to make that small difference. And the experience has been so overwhelming that maybe Alia can tell you about one, two incidences of how these grandparents used to be happy to have something on their phone which is there, but they do not know how to use it.
How to use it.
So
That's great. I must congratulate both mother and you pair here to share that kind of stuff. However,
it's very
something
nice.
that when I spoke to you, you said you have twin daughters, but both of them are different. How come the same parent? I know I have the same problem. I have a son and daughter. I'm the same parent, but both of them are like poles apart. So what is it that makes them different from each other?
Because I've let them grow independently. We have
Okay.
given a lot of importance to what they want to do. Obviously, it has to be right. The distinguishing should be there between the right and the wrong. So that at any given point of time, we've taught our children, ask yourself before taking a decision, is this right? Do you think my parents will approve of this? And yes, if your answer is yes, then go ahead and do it. If the answer comes no, then please refrain. Ask your own self whether we are around or not around. But you have to learn the right from the wrong.
As a parent, most of us are worried about the scorecard, the report card, and the college or the school in which the child has to be there. How about you? With
I have
Alia doing,
Yes, yes, yes. Alia is more fun loving. She likes to do a lot of other activities, whereas my other daughter Ananya is very much into books. So even today, she's standing on a predicted score of 44 out of 45 in the IB, which is like a
oh, great.
phenomenally great score. Whereas Alia is at a 39 on 44. But we are fine with that, because Alia has learned a very big thing in life, that it's important to be financially independent, it's important to be successful in life, then getting the grades. So Alia turns around and tells her sister that, look, you may land up becoming a doctor, doesn't matter, but I think I can go far ahead in life without the marks, so let's not even discuss the report card.
Okay, before I come back to one last question, that just because you are from that kind of background of business structure in which you had worked, that is why you allowed Alia to follow her dream of doing that entrepreneurship course?
To an extent, yes, but I
Right.
think every person should be encouraged in doing what they want to do. small things, if you answer them in a very encouraging tone, yes, they listen to you. And it's not just the parents. I'm talking on a forum of teachers, where I know that for Alia it meant a lot when her teacher told her, Alia, why don't you address the assembly one morning and address the whole school and let them know what you're doing. And Alia was that, I think, really motivated her, because as a parent you're taken for granted, but when it comes from the teacher, she was like all gung-ho about the whole thing, that, oh wow, my teachers asked me to speak in the assembly, I have to address the whole school, mom. And I think that encouragement coming from teachers really means a lot to children, because their exposure to society is only the school and the family with a few friends. So I think the teachers' statements really matter a lot to children.
Oh, wonderful talking to you. Stay tuned there only, because I'm moving over to Ma'am Bhattacharya. She's an educator, and probably she would be able to throw some more light on what an educator or an educational institution or an educational environment can make a difference. So I'll be moving over to, thank you,
Sure.
Anil. I will come back to some winding up
We
questions
look
once
forward
again.
to
Right.
that. Thank you.
Miss Bhattacharya, welcome to this forum, a passionate educator. And I'm sure once the lady who started from banking and then she moved into education. That's what, so it comes from my heart that she's today the Secretary General and CEO of 100 years old educational institution, Shikshayatan Foundation. Welcome to our forum. And you have been doing a loads of work on skills, knowledge, training, and all that. I'm sure your being here and connecting with me is a privilege for me. And blessed
Thank
we
you so
all are on,
much.
right? Blessed we are all to have you on this platform of parents, children, educators, professors from higher education. So I would just like you to shed light on that. What kind of skills, what kind of, like we have talked about awareness, we have talked about growth mindset. Alia talked about that mindset has to be all right, and as a parent, mother added that, of course, we need to give the right kind of environment. But despite that, we have loads of problems that are still existing. So how do we raise a generation of gender equality? How do we bridge that gap of genders that we have, gender bias, misconceptions? There's a small incident that I would like to share, that I was doing a workshop on nano stories, and that line doesn't get off my head even now. So the trainer gave us a line that I'm going to give you a line and you have to only add one line only to make it a complete story. And that story should have a theme, and story should have some meaning to go to the audience. So the line was, this is open to all participants. You can write on the chat. This is open to every person here. A baby boy was born and there were celebrations in the house. Now you can add only one line to make it some meaningful, close story. And how people did different things, and even on, I must say, leadership platform, what I got the feedback, at times I used to really shake it up, like we really need awareness. I'll repeat once again. A baby boy was born. There were celebrations in the house. So on the chat and everybody else, we can add those only one line to make it a story with some meaning to be conveyed in whatever form of child education, girl child or women or gender bias or anything. Anybody coming up with that?
Can I think, add on from what you said? I think it relates a lot to my own life also.
Okay.
So, in fact, I had also thought of, saying this. You see, I was born, and after 4 years, my brother was born. And as I flipped through the album, I saw that there was an insertion in the newspaper where, my brother was born was written that in the, that time I was Banerjee, and in the Banerjee family, the son has been born. And I went up to my father and I told him, how could you do this? Why there is no insertion when I was born, and you've done this for my brother? And I think that was something which also reflected. And my father, since then, he has never made a difference between me and my brother.
So that was Be the Change the change that
Yes.
you want to see, the line. Like awareness is there, but then consciousness, self-confidence. So the line that some people added, I think something that remained in my heart even today is, the baby boy was born, there were celebrations, and the three unborn sisters cried in the heaven. And even today it gives me goosebumps. And that talks about female feticide.
Exactly.
So we as mothers, we as sisters, we as women, we as girl children really need to address such kind of issues through such simple things which leave an impact on the hearts of. So how do we connect hearts? How do we have skills? How do we have knowledge? How do we have awareness among the girls? Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, but where we started off, and let me tell you, see, as I grew also, I have spoken for rights, rights for women. And, when in a marriage of a Bengali, there are Bengalis who are there, you will see in a card, when a marriage card or any ceremony which happens, it is only the male members' names are printed.
Okay.
I think I protested again, and I said no, my mother's name will also be there. So so from since then, my mother's name was also there. I said, it has to be there. And now I see definitely there are differences, where the mother's name and the ladies' names are also put in the marriage cards or any other ceremony, the Mundan ceremony or whatever ceremony. So I think one is that you have to believe in yourself, believe in what you have, because every resource that you have is important, and you have to be courageous. You had mentioned one thing, that you have to overcome your fear. There is nothing, you just have to overcome that. And I really liked what Alia said. She has, okay, there are problems, but she solved that problem. We need to also solve that problem. And into that, I would say that, you have to be viable financially. And I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, today I am working and I, keep another person to help me. So if I work, say, for a worth of 5,000 rupees, I can keep another person for 1,000 rupees. Okay, so 4,000 rupees I'm saving, and 1,000 rupees I am outgoing for somebody who's helping me. But today, if I did not go to work, I would be saving that 1,000 rupees, but I would not be earning that 4,000 rupees. So even to, in a country, in the national income, I'm adding value. So, this is also every ladies must think, that we need to help another person in whatever way. Alia, you went to every person and you helped them to, see that, they understood the digitalization, the technology, which is very, very important. And, in leadership, when you see a leader, again, I'll narrate another story to you. We were in a workshop and, we had to do some activity. We completed that activity and we were sitting tight on it and we felt so good that, we've completed our activity. When the results came out, we were given the lowest grading. I'll tell you why. Because the observation was that I completed my activity, but I did not go and help others who could not complete it. So this is a point to be noted. If you have done something, go and help others. This is a skill which everyone needs to have, because then only, you can move forward. So today, as an educationist, I can say that there are many educationists like me who are doing good work. But, there are many such people who are in the remotest of the area. What do we do for them? Even, there has to be a partnership with, these are awarenesses which needs to be brought up in different maybe forums. And we do that, you need to have these private public partnership where you adopt such people and you take care of them, and so that they become viable, financially, they have skills, they become, independent, and they transform. So I say every resource within you can be transformed. And going into different skills, where the mother said about number, we are so, tied down with numbers, what our children get. And as an education, let me tell you that I don't believe in those numbers. I believe in what a person can have, skill, because those numbers are only, within inverted commas inside a classroom. I can do very well for attending a 3 hours paper. But when it comes to actually meeting people and, vibing with them, then, we miss out. And many a times we have seen the people who have scored very well in their examination are failures in their life, because they have done very well in the exam, which is 3 hours. So you are basically one-to-one. You are saying, answering some question papers, and that's it. But when it comes to, mixing with people, then, you are unable to do that. So this is another
Ma'am
skill.
Bhattacharya, I have a question out here, which is all related to our own educational institutions. We all say as leaders and educators in education that marks are not important, it's more skills. But yet when the results come, what you see on Facebook, what you see on social media, what you see on newspapers is all highlighting so many A's, so many this is the topper in science. This. So how do we really rectify that attitude of educators? That is very important for all of us to bring that change. Actually, even the results come, girls are outshining the boys. I mean, what is the kind of result projection that we are doing, right? So how do you do it in your organization to address this kind of projection of an educational institution?
Okay. See, everyone must have seen the national education policy, and the national education policy definitely has thought about this. And that's why now it's going to be a 360-degree, grading system that we are going to have, peer to peer. The peer will also tell you that whether, how she's mixing or how he is mixing. And, it's not only your marks. So I think there is a change which is coming, and I think we need to embrace that change. About our school, let me tell you, we've introduced a whole lot of things like ours, as you know, 100-year-old, it started with Marwari girls coming to schools, and 100 years back, meaning 1920, so 101 years back. And the First World War, girls were not allowed to go. Girls who came to study were told that you will become a widow. And, they were basically socially debarred from different, their houses. From there, our journey started, and we believe in empowerment of people. We are not looking at somebody who's coming first or second, but empowered to empower other people. And we develop these skills. Now, we've introduced like bands. Bands used to be only a dominating thing for the boys. The boys would be playing band. The girls now play bands, and, they have done very well in our city. And like playing chess, we have national chess players in our school. So, these are the two games that we have encouraged very much. And, we think that, maybe there will be a school of sports where, we will can have, such encouragement, where we don't focus only in a classroom situation, but we teach either it is physics, chemistry, biology, or any other subject, maybe on the ground, maybe in a kitchen, maybe anywhere. So in a kitchen, if somebody has a flair to do cooking, I can teach physics by, showing utensils, the shape of the utensils. I can teach chemistry by showing the mixtures of many things, other food mixes. I can teach communication by, doing, maybe talking to a person, how one should be writing a recipe to make it understand to people. So there can be communication. I can talk about geography, where this food has come, and, talk about that place.
You're mostly talking about the project-based learning that NEP 2020 is talking about. And probably Alia, what she has done is part of that, only the problem-centered education, that how do you address a solution from different perspectives. Because if you go through the research work that she has done and how she reached finally that sachet with the ink mark on it, it was wonderful to read about Alia.
Yes.
All that. So entrepreneurship, financial freedom, financial independence, financial literacy, how are you doing that in your schools in general for everyone, not only for girls, but for everyone?
Okay, we also have entrepreneurship, and we ask the children, what Alia said. I fully believe that that whenever somebody comes with a problem, we say, okay, do you have a solution? So you have to have the solution. And for entrepreneurship, yes, the girls, they put up different exhibitions where they earn money. So it can be a food exhibition, it can be a product or whatever it is, it can be even paintings which are sold. So they become, independent in earning money in making or doing different products. So that is something which we have encouraged, and it is an ongoing project. And as you know, we have children from 3+ to post graduation. So even in our business school, there are incubation centers and innovation
Oh,
centers.
you're running incubation centers. That's wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, so so they definitely, it is for experiential learning, coming out with solutions, working with industry, and so this is something is part of our institution that we do.
Wonderful, Bhattacharya ma'am. I'm sure we all need to visit your organization
Yes,
in order
please
to see
do.
all that. And then I'll come back to this because there is some audience person, Mrs. Millie Lapsiwala. She wants to say a few words. So, Sushmita, can you just allow her to speak? I'll come back to you, Mrs. Bhattacharya. Wonderful sharing about NEP, about problem center, project-based learning, about skill-based curriculum. Wonderful. And more important than that, that we are imbibing the spirit of NEP 2020, which is very important for all of us as educators. Mrs. Millie Lapsiwala, you wanted to speak something. I will really like you to come on the screen, please. If you are there, please come. Or we'll put all the 4 together, the speakers for today, and put them all there. Sushmita, let's have Professor Ramachandran also to join the complete platform out here.
Can I say one thing? Professor Ramachandran had mentioned that, they do not have so many women professors.
Yes,
so,
yes.
If I could request, if you do allow that women professors also to take up the job, because, like we being a female dominated institution, we allow male members to come in because we only look for the best. If there is a male member who is the best in that particular, we allow that. And if there is a woman, so it is equal rights, you have to prove yourself, be it a woman or a man. So it's basically you have to pass the interview. So that's how we look at it.
Ramachandran sir,
Madam, actually,
I think whatever you started with awareness drive, I am sure you, after listening to all of us around here, one thing is very clear, that we are all aware of what is going on. Now the issue is how do we address those challenges, right? So if you are choosing to challenge today, I would ask you to give me 2 challenges that you would be addressing via your organization.
Yeah, one of the challenges, madam, is to ensure the admission. See, madam, just now mentioning equal opportunities based on merit. Actually, there is some kind of word called as meritology. Meritology means without any consideration with respect to the background and the kind of origins they are having, the kind of hailing they are having, simply based on merit, who is going to carry out the job properly. Based on that, we are choosing that as meritocracy or meritology. They are perhaps useful for some kind of egalitarian society. But in India, that kind of approach cannot be done, madam. So there is a respect of key. Madam, I just now mentioned that the women actually can perform better. And they are not anatomically, physiologically, multitasking communities. But in spite of that, in society there is a lot of marginalization. So some special emphasis, some kind of incentives must be given for them to upcome. So that is one challenge. The challenge is, okay, in 2020, in the New Education policy also, as Madam has rightly pointed out, that IITs are supposed to ensure 20% of enrollment of women. As I told you, in the first 50 years, there was only one professor, not a single professor in the campus, and only one girl was there in engineering. Right now on the campus, we are finding it very difficult to provide hostel accommodation for our women. Now there are nearly some 600 women are there. Sorry, 2,000 women are there on the campus. And 20 years back, there was only one girl.
So Professor sir, taking from you the point that reservation for women, I would really like to ask Alia, the younger generation, do we need reservation for women anywhere?
No, not really. I mean, then
if you don't need reservation, what else would you like to address on that issue?
So
because I personally feel that that is not the way out. That's my personal opinion. Everybody may not agree to that, but how does the younger generation address that?
I feel now more than equality, it's about equity and how like everyone should be given like what they need instead of reserves like seats for women or men. So I feel like not just me, but like everybody.
Yeah, let the best.
Yeah, like all everybody.
Bhattacharya ma'am, your views on reservation for women? You are on mute. You need to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not at all for reservation, because you need to prove yourself, and being a woman, you can always prove yourself. The thing is that there is a discrimination worldwide, in the pay package, because if you do a research work, you will see in most of the countries people do not want to take up leadership roles. Women do not want to do it because there is a discrimination, is a payment factor. So the first thing is that you have to be treated equally. You cannot have these reservations, and the best will get it.
I think Mrs. Millie is visible to me on the screen. Please unmute yourself. What would you like to add, ma'am? Mrs. Millie, please unmute yourself first. Right, ma'am.
Very good afternoon to everyone. First, I would like to add, as per my teaching experience, I have seen many students who are involved in family life only. I am from Rajasthan, and basically I am from Baroda, but as per my observation, considering my education time and the present education time, what do I feel like breakup in family and breakup in marriage life is due to lack of skills only. If life partner is not capable to fulfill a partner's requirement, then definitely they get divorced, and it's just like rather than working on making points, they are seeking for short-term happiness. So what do I feel that education is must for lifelong happiness. That is my observation.
That's great. I think we all agree that education is that one weapon which can which is the master stroke, in fact, for everyone, irrespective of gender, that we must provide the opportunities of equality of education, equality of doing whatever you want, freedom to explore your dreams, freedom to go for your passion. Probably as a parent, as an educator, we can do a wonderful job of giving that opportunity, giving that platform, giving that freedom to go and do it, and then stand by them and make them actually confident to rise from the failures. Failure is nothing but an opportunity to relearn the whole process once again. So thank you so much for everyone being out there. It was my pleasure to host all the little girl of mine, Alia Gabora, which she may mind. She's grown up in class 12, going to be college, and Mama, the proud parent there, and Ma'am Bhattacharya, Professor Sir, and team of super teachers who have been wonderful to host this show for the women today. I will really like to put down the whole things together, which all speakers have spoken. Number one, it is the awareness,
Can I just
right?
say one thing?
Yes,
Here, sorry, when Miss Millie had mentioned, I think what also should be in this forum, that it is not that, we as women get aware, it is also the male members. The male members also need to be educated on this.
Right, ma'am. That's how to raise and
this is very important.
How to raise boys is as important as the girls with the right kind of mindset. That is how when we use the language,
treat the women.
when we use the language, gender biased language, कि आप लड़की हो, आप ये नहीं कर सकते हो, आप लड़का हो, आप जा सकते हो, if you can stay back at night, where the girl has to come back, और आप लड़कों की तरह से, लड़कियों की तरह से रो क्यों रहे हो? These kinds of languages are very harmful for the generation, in fact. That is why you see the reactions from the younger generation nowadays, because times of equality. Everybody is at par with each other. So we are all individuals. We are all human beings. So what we should look forward as educators, as parents, as younger generation of today is that how we can contribute to solve the problems of the global perspective, because now there is emerging a world without boundaries. This is what I realized, because the last 1 year has connected all educators across the globe. I think we have all connected so much across the globe that there has been a lot of sharing of every kind of issues and every kind of problems, even what COVID-19 had brought. However, together we have all made it, and I'm sure there are better times ahead. Problems are always there. Without problem, what is life there? Smooth sailing में थोड़ी होता है जब हम कुछ को challenge करते हैं, when we do something different, when we really go for innovations, explorations, hypotheses, fail, do it again. That's what is life. So life is more like a journey that should go on. Thank you so much, Professor Sir, Alia, Nipa ma'am.
Just one small comment I would like to make before you
Right,
conclude.
definitely. Bhattacharya ma'am, wonderful meeting all of you and all the audience who have joined us today on this special afternoon, morning, forenoon. Absolutely fantastic being with all of you. Yes, Professor Sir.
Madam, let us say that there is a hypothetical situation that suddenly there is a curse that all men should suddenly perish.
let's not curse anybody, but let's say everybody is happy.
Hypothetical. I'm telling madam, let all men perish from this earth, and there is not going to be any problem for the human race on this earth. The Homo sapiens will still persist, okay, for times immemorial. Okay, then suppose the same hypothetical curse is there on women. Suppose suddenly there is a curse that all women on the earth perish and only men are going to be there. And after 100 years, naturally there won't be any species called as Homo sapiens. What does it mean? The nature actually is in favor of women, and science and technology has already proven that women is essential or sufficient enough to sustain the human race. So that's why the appropriate respect, appropriate honor, appropriate treatment, and the relevance must be given to women. That is the main respect what the International Women's Day must say, and that's what we have to also choose to challenge. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much. And what you bring back is something we all talk about is we are Ardhanarishwara. Like we are Lord Shiva and Parvati all together in each and every human being. That's what I have grown up learning with from my culture of Himachal, where I think everybody talks about that power of being Durga, power of being that Shakti, power of that being Shanti, Shraddha, mother, everything. That's the power of being a woman. But however, it is the compatibility of both the parts together that will make this world flourish together. It is compatibility of man and woman together, the way say man is already in the woman if you write the spells, right? So that is what probably are certain things which we speak, but they need to be imbibed in ourselves as a spirit, right? यत्र नारी पूजन ते रमन्ते तत्र देवता. हम कहते तो हैं लेकिन उसको प्रूव करना चाहिए ना. जहां नारी की पूजा होती है वहां देवता बसते हैं, लेकिन नारी की पूजा का करने का मतलब ये नहीं कि वर्शिप इज ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, व्हिच प्रोफेसर सर सेड, ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, ड्यू कंसीडरेशन, इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड इक्वल लाइक फ्रीडम टू गो फॉर द ड्रीम्स एंड पैशन. So as a mother, as a parent, I'm so much in love in doing that work, especially for girl child, because the way I have grown, probably growing up a girl child has been a challenge. I went in to establish a residential school in Rajasthan, which is Modi Institute of Education Research. I worked there for 11 years. And that today, that's a deemed university only for women. It's a degree college, engineering college, school of course is there, and an MBA. So how that's passion where you can resign from being a principal and go to set up an institution as a vice principal, ultimately to rise that. But that is the passion for which you have a dream, you want to work for it, you want to live for it, you want to do something for it. So even in that case, how did I make those students go from 10th to 11th and 12th, even to take computer science with science? Because like you said, Marwadi girls, they were all Marwadis out there. I said, और नहीं कुछ होगा तो घर में बैठ के बिजनेस देखेंगी, बैलेंस शीट बनाएंगी, कंप्यूटर साइंस विद कॉमर्स पढ़ाइए, लेकिन पढ़ाइए उनको. You know, to get those first few children, girls, especially in the 11th and 12th, was a mission for me. But today I'm proud of having done so many institutions, so many girls around, so many students all around, touched so many parents. Thank you, everyone. Love to all of you. Stay blessed, stay happy, stay protected, keep yourself safe. Get the vaccine also, which probably is all out already for there. Stay safe. And thank you, super teacher team. Where are you? Sushmita.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks to the super teacher team.
Thank you, Bhattacharya ma'am. Absolutely. When you just make me like curious about your institution and come there and visit and meet you all.
Please do. Please do.
So whenever I'm in Mumbai, definitely we'll meet sometime. Wish you all the best for your college, Alia ji, and wish you all the best. Mama the Great for the
Thank you, Miss. Thank you so
with
much.
the loving daughters. Thank you, Professor sir. Whenever I'm in Hyderabad, I stayed in Banjara Hills. I love that area like anything. So whenever I'm that side, I'm definitely going to meet all of you. So you
Welcome,
feel
madam.
good
Welcome,
about
welcome. You are
having
most
done
welcome.
as a teacher. Yes, sir.
You are most welcome, madam. Please do this.
Definitely, definitely. Do share the link for the seminar that you're starting. Then whenever I have time, I will definitely love to join.
Okay, madam.
So thank you, super teacher. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all the best. Happy Women's Day. Every day is a Women's Day, but this special day is just to remind ourselves that we need to work more towards whatever we know and find out solutions for that. So create a generation of equality, create a home environment, school environment of inclusive language, give them financial freedom, give them financial support, give them the power of going for. So practice as you have never won, perform as if you have never lost. So keep working for it. Thank you so much and love to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, super teacher.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Women's Day.
ओहो इतना धीरे से इतने से बोलोगे Bhanu is there?
Thank you. Just take leave, huh?
Ji sir.
I take leave, madam. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor sir, for sparing your time.
Yeah, eve of the Women's Day, I wish all the best and also best wishes for the Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I'm leaving, Sushmita.
Right. Yeah, please.
Okay, great.